looking for positivity or looking for encouragement. Temia Brinson aims to educate you, to give you the push to believe, to have the mindset for success. Mindset for success. To have the mindset for success. To have the mindset for success.
Tonight we have a very special presentation for you. This is one of the journalistic pieces where I tackled the pertinent and controversial subject of black-on-black violence. And we shot this right after the deaths of 2 law enforcement officers and the manhunt that followed that. And this occurred in the Orlando, Florida community.
So what is the solution to stopping that? Should we censor our own media from our own people, or demand a better product?
You see, you can easily do that from the ground up. It's easy for us to say that from the ground up, but you have to have an audience to sell it. This goes right back to the family. If someone's teaching if you're guarding the ears and the eyes of your child, then they'll know that this material is garbage material. This doesn't speak for who I am. So they won't attach to that. They won't buy that. I believe it was, I was telling you earlier about how most of our movies, they stereotype ignorance through our people. And it's like you see a white film, and I hate to just label it as a white film, but you'll see a film with other ethnicities, and they have a storyboard. It tells a story in the movie. It paints a picture. It takes you on a journey. It's life. And it's like you see this, and then when you see our film, it's somebody either cursing out somebody. My dad used to call it foolishness. We're so full of foolishness. Like we want to laugh and be entertained so much that we don't realize that we're killing ourselves in the process, because what we feed our brain through wanting to be entertained is destroying us, because our actions start to look like what we eat.
My God. And I come from that era of black exploitation movies where when one came out every week: Superfly, Coffee, Shaft Base Score, The Man.
Oh my God.
I come from that era, and you see the other races mimicking us. Whereas, and I guess they call themselves getting our flavor, but I have to piggyback on what Thomas is saying. It's all about what's put out there and how it's received, and how we again, I think we okayed some of this stuff. I think some of it is our fault because we let it go. There's a movie called A Soldier's Story. Did you guys see A Soldier's Play? And in the movie, there's a kid that plays a guitar. And they were over in Germany, where the Germans already thought that we had tails. There was a bunch of racial stuff going on. The sergeant is a proud black man. He wants him to stop doing this pickaninny stuff. Where he's shucking and jiving and bucking his eyes, watermelon eating, chicken eating, all that. He wants him to stop that for the sake of his race. But there's an entertainment value that goes along with it that Thomas alluded to.
Yes.
That we've just allowed to run rampant and get away from us. We are not in control of the narrative anymore. We're not in control of that anymore. So, and it's just out there. So much so now that The white kids call each other the N-word, and it's okay. It's okay. It's transcended race.
But you know, the communities that we're talking about, the people who live there did not design those communities. Many of the communities, like the projects in Chicago,
Yes.
they were built for blacks, for low income. And you put them all in one place,
Yes.
you're gonna have a problem. And cities have been doing that for the last 75 years. I was talking to the city manager here in Groveland, and he was asking me what was my concern for the city. I said, well, one concern is to make sure that we don't build slums.
He said, I met with the guy who owns Amstock. And he said, we just built, he said, we were the ones who put the first Amstock in the Marion area. We built it for him. He said, the guy told him he borrowed $100,000 to start the Amstock with. Within the first year, I don't want to misquote this, but it was somewhere in the range of $16 million he made within the first year.
And I thought it would never work.
$100,000 plan.
I thought it would never work.
It was in the black community.
Yes.
All of them had. We have,
Yes.
you know, something that opened my eyes, and I like to give my testimony a lot. Because I went from being sick with little to no money to being blessed with a lot of money. And the reason though, what God put in front of me was, we missed the word, the layout of stewardship. How important it is to govern those funds and know what is necessary to spend money on and what is not necessary to spend money on.
Yes.
And what is very necessary to invest in. And I look at priorities, and that's something that our people miss. We'll buy those, everybody came down on Bill Cosby about those $100, $200 shoes when he mentioned that, but then they can't put their kids through college and things like that. This is the truth.
Yes.
But our people, I think scripture says it best. It's like a fool hates rebuke. A wise man loves it. Because when you get rebuked, when you're able to see yourself, you gravitate to that and grow from it. But our people, we have such a stubborn mind to where if you call us out and say this, you're doing the wrong thing with your money, it's like, you can't tell me what to do with my money.
You can't tell me.
But it's too late to tell them then.
Yeah.
It's too late to tell them then because they're grown. But you have to be around the table. You have to have that exposure. You have to, and if you don't, you just don't know. And that's the problem with our communities. That's the problem. Our communities are in bad shape. Because we just don't know. We don't have the knowledge.
We have organizations, we are revitalization organizations like Magic Johnson and others that are doing that. And they're not going through the government. They have their own organizations. They're going in and revitalizing the African American community. However, it's not happening fast enough, and it's only a few that have the knowledge and the know-how to do that. So how do we accelerate that to, I know we can't reach every community, but how do we accelerate that to reach more than what we're reaching now?
I just think that it's terrible when someone else can see your worth more than you can see your worth. And if we could get people to start seeing what they are capable of, how much we make everyone else rich. I believe that it could move a lot faster if they realize that. And then you could put it in a realistic, layman term, how they can see how their money could do something different for them if they didn't waste it. because I lived on Mercy Drive. And when I lived on Mercy Drive, I saw.
In Palm?
No, not actually, it was down in Lake, not
Bordeaux.
Palm, the next one, Bordeaux.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I lived there, what I saw was we got a lot of hood rich people.
Hood rich. That's good.
You stay in the
That's a good
neighborhood,
term.
it's about $400 for rent. You on welfare. You got a Benz outside.
Wow.
But you stay in, it's almost like if I go anywhere else, it will push me to work. You see what I'm saying? I like comfort. Because half of the people that's living there, it's not poverty. It's just they just don't care. I don't want anything. If I leave the hood, then that means I have to work. Because right now, I can get the welfare, I can get food stamps, I can work a job that's paying me a minimum wage and still drive my Benz because it's only $400 for this. But I can lie a little bit on some of the finances and the welfare takes up for the rest. And it's like if we have a lazy bone in us and you begin to think that you should receive help.
You're entitled.
You're entitled to this.
Yes.
And that has
That's only if you're raised
Yeah.
in that situation.
So let me
Yeah,
let me
I
add.
would say because a lot of outsiders,
Mm-hmm.
believe of the myth that, a certain culture is lazy.
Mhm.
However, laziness is a learned behavior.
Right.
And it may be
Right.
what a household was taught.
And I see why people get mad. Certain people go to work every day like myself, tax-paying individuals. These people that say, "Oh, I want a drug test," everybody will get food stamps. That's true. In certain neighborhoods, in the inner city, they learn how to manipulate the system, and it's just as Thomas says, if they move out, they associate moving up and working with moving back. Because the government won't give them certain things if they start to assert themselves and do for themselves. So, and it's one thing that I thought about as I was sitting here, these young kids are really impressionable, and a way to fix all of this is to start with the messages of them being supporting and sustaining early on with these on the devices that they're on now, because I don't think a lot of these younger kids are going to go quote unquote the inner city or ghetto way, the rat way. They're not with that. They're on a whole different level, and I think we have some hope in these young kids. The kids that are Thomas's kids' age, there's hope there.
COVID-19 has changed how we express our faith and gather to worship. We all want to get back to how we pray, how we congregate, how we lift our voices in praise. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to spreading the word without spreading concern. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts. As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe?
Should I wait?
It's okay to have questions. Now get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine means hope. It will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
I want to go back to work and I want to be able to move around.
To visit with Michelle's mom, to hug her and see her on her birthday.
You know what I'm really looking forward to is going to opening day in Texas Ranger Stadium with a full stadium.
We've lost enough people and we've suffered enough damage.
In order to get rid of this pandemic, it's important for our fellow citizens to get vaccinated.
I'm getting vaccinated because we want this pandemic to end as soon as possible.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
So roll up your sleeve and do your part.
This is our shot.
Now it's up to you.
Yeah, but he's not in the hood. Yeah, the kids that are in the hood,
Right.
I don't see very much hope for them, especially those that of a certain age.
Right.
And the only way, I think, to really change it, to make it better or faster than what they're doing now, is to really concentrate on the younger,
Yes.
on the next
Yes.
generation.
Yes.
Make sure they go to the right schools. Make sure they have recreation centers.
We've got to get them from 6 to 12.
In the hood that supervise, because then they will have a future. When you see guys saying that, they don't feel they have a future.
They don't have a shot. And,
Yeah, and so that's just an excuse.
Right.
Yes.
Right, and they lose the enthusiasm, 3rd, 4th grade, is
Yes.
because the interests of parents shift. Most of these kids do the stuff they do because the parent is excited.
To start out.
Yeah, you learned this today, oh, you learned that, you learned this. Sooner or later, it shifts from the parent being the source of the peer pressure. And the kids at school become the source of the peer pressure. Because now they live up to the dreams of what's around them at school. They could care less about the girls, who's cute, who's not, or who's got on the nicest clothes. All of the interest jumps out the window. But the parent kind of takes a backdrop. But then we also become less incorporated in their lives.
Yes.
Because we'd rather give them an after-school program. So when I was in school, we went to school, after school, we went home. And we spent the rest of the day at home with my family, with my father and my mother at home. So my father had a mechanic shop, we had to be in the mechanic shop. We did our homework, ate our dinner, went to bed. That was our life every day. At a young age, we had to learn something. We didn't wait till we was junior high school to get the job, after school job. We was working already at home from the fields to the mechanic shop. We was working and learning a trade already. Now, there's just none of that. I mean, black-owned businesses, that's far and few. It's like, you really are allowing them, send them off to football practice, send them to karate class, send them to this, send them to that. Let somebody else take care of that, because I'm too frustrated. I'm too overwhelmed with work myself. I don't want to take it. We have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice. And I do agree, a lot of them are afraid and they don't believe they're worth anything more. But we have a mixture in that.
Yes.
We have a mixture in that because it's sad. Anytime you see the young ladies that can go, once they get a baby, get 2 jobs, raise the kid, still get food, and then the male wakes up in the morning, lays on the couch, plays video games, won't go out and even try to fill out an application.
You know why?
It's sad.
Yeah, but you know why? He doesn't feel he can do it. That girl, she went to school, she went and did her homework, she learned, she even went to college. The guy fell out of school at 3rd grade. He dropped out. And so when he's an adult, he's in trouble.
That is interesting. So have you noticed, what I noticed is that, well, with the age difference, one sees lack of achievement or to excel, or the willpower to excel. One sees it as laziness, and the elder sees it as lack of confidence.
We still have a tremendous amount of influence.
Yes.
And power.
Yes.
But for some strange reason, we can never come together and meet with the mind of our own people to figure out a plan to where we borrow from our own establishments.
Wow.
We build our own community. We can't build a single structure together.
But that's why we never had that exposure. We never sat around the table with the bankers, the planners, the community builders. And we don't think that way.
Right.
We don't think that way. And so we will, until we start building our own communities,
Right.
and planning our own communities and deciding what we want for our children, then even our children, other people plan for them. We don't.
It's a matter of maturation and conformity. And people's definition of maturity is different. It differs. Just like when we first started talking. And while you were talking, Thomas, all I could see is what could we use? You said what medium? I could see you just bombarding YouTube with videos of young, successful Black entrepreneurs that look like these people, that look like these kids. Well, the kids will listen to them and go where they are. They stay on YouTube.
Yeah.
They stay on YouTube for some of the most craziest videos. Give them something with that element. The lights, the music, and all that kind of stuff that'll draw them in, and maybe 45, a minute and a half blurbs of successful people shouting out, telling them how they made it. This is how we did it. They see Sean, they see Puffy Combs, they see what's the guy named like Jay-Z, all these, and that's kind of unrealistic.
Right.
To give them realistic
That's like the beta
people that they can look up to, and that can say, hey man, this is what we did, dude. I was out on the corner, but man, I came in. I've got a great way for you to make some money, And all of us, and I like what Thomas and Pastor said, we're our own paycheck.
Right.
We've got to get out of the mindset of working for somebody.
Right.
God blessed us.
Right.
To be able to produce, that we can sustain our families. But we're so used to punching in, going to work each and every day. Like Thomas said, he didn't think he could do it. Same with me. I have a sister, and man, I have to repent for this. My sister, she would try some of everything. Nothing. She was what we call a free spirit. Some of everything. She didn't want to work for anybody. But to us, we was like, something wrong with you. You feel me? Long story short, she's doing very well now. And she works for herself. As a community, we've got to get that down. We've been working to be, you going back to the slave mentality, crab in a bucket mentality. Well, some of that stuff has some kind of credence.
Yeah. And I think that's great, because if you show more blue collar, white collar,
that's good,
African Americans who have made it, who have created some form of their success through business or whatever, I think that would be great, because realistic goals. We often put stars in front of our children and give them the thought that if you never reach that status, you're nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't want my son to strive to be the rapper. I don't want him to strive to be the football player. I don't care how much money they make. That's not what I want him to strive for. Because once again, you become an entertainer. I don't want my son to be an entertainer. Don't live to entertain people. The jail is full of people who live to entertain people. That's why you see the dope boys sell drugs to buy the car that people will say, wow. To buy the clothes that people will applaud. To buy the jewelry that people will applaud. That's what they live for, to entertain. I don't want him to do that. I want him to understand that living is about sustainability. Creating a foundation of sustainability where he can take care of him and his family without someone having a hanging their job over their head as far as I can take this from you at any point in time. You know what I mean? I want him to say, I have my own destiny. I paid my way. And I think if we could show that, like you said, if you can show that, I believe somebody, you won't get everybody. You just won't get everybody. But you'll get, somebody will be blessed by it somewhere. Where they'll change their mind to where it's like, I can do more than what I'm doing now. Because man, that paycheck effect, that's one of the most drastic, that's one of the biggest crippling areas for our people, is the paycheck effect. I used to hear people say that back in the day. You got a job, you better keep that job. You better be happy and keep that job. It's like, this is the ceiling on my job. So anything you want beyond that ceiling, this is it.
Right.
What they willing to give you. I think we can show how that could be done correctly, legally, and correctly. I think that could be shown. If you can show that, I believe it'll help somebody.
And then you got it. I got it.
Yeah. Thank you. That was good.
To have the mindset for success. If you're looking for positivity,